we'll have that available. So welcome ETX FTs. We are now talking about cropping. So as I was saying, the new official pose guide sequence was designed to really emphasize the importance of allowing enough space around baby and family in all of our poses. So, you know, in June, we came out with this new pose guide with the new cropping boxes. We have the pink box and the black box, right? And so let's talk about what those boxes mean. So again, as you learned from that training in June, it includes 2 colored borders on each image. So the pink line, or the pink rectangle, defines the outer borders of the full image. So basically, the pink is what our pose guide used to show. So it's the full image, right? What we've really added are the black lines. Those inner black lines form a rectangle that is centered within the image. And of course, you guys know that this is what's called the cropping mask. And so, again, you've got your pink, which is our normal full photo that we should be shooting. And then the black is what the black box, that's what should be inside our mask. And so, you know, one of the things that I want to point out to you, you know, that we're seeing a lot of is that the photographers are getting this shot, okay? But what's happening is what's inside the black box is not always correct. So that's really what we need to start working on when we are working with our new hires. When they take a photo, we need to be looking at the pose guide and doing 2 things. Making sure that this photo, that this part of the photo is in the black box or inside the mask. And you guys, the second thing that we have to make sure of is that this outside space right here is just white sheet. Okay? Just white sheet or free of distractions, I should say. Because sometimes, you know, we might have other parts of the body in there, right? So like, for instance, for Sweet Dreams, you're going to see the rest of the baby's body here, but this should be free of distractions. So meaning I shouldn't see any medical poles. I shouldn't see, you know, anything but a clean shot, right? Okay. And by the way, and you guys know this about me, hopefully now, please stop me at any point if you have questions or want to add something to the conversation, okay? Please do that. Okay, so let's go to our next slide. So, you know, all of our cameras include the cropping mask in the viewfinder and that's a big and or on the LED screen on the back of the camera. You know, we've got to use that mask. We've got to use that cropping mask to properly frame and center the baby and the family in the poses. So, you know, it's on the back. Like I said, it's either in the viewfinder or it is on the LED screen itself. Now, let's talk about which cameras have what. And you might want to jot this down. I would write this down and then transfer it to my FT manual, especially if you go to other hospitals to train. The cropping mask in the viewfinder and on the LED screen. So we have some cameras that have it in both places. Okay, so when I look in the viewfinder, I'm going to see the black mask. When I look on my LED screen to look at my photo, it's going to have the black mask. And so that's going to be on your Nikon D60 as well as your D3000s. So those are the 2 cameras that have it in both places. Now, the only place on the 32 and 3400 is in the LED screen. So it's only on the screen, which means when your new hire looks through the viewfinder, all she's going to see is dots. Okay, so instead of a black screen in the viewfinder on these two cameras, what she's going to see are a series of black dots. I know you guys have seen these, right? I'm sure you've worked with probably every camera. And so what we have to teach our new hires for these two cameras is to make an imaginary mask. We have to, when they're looking through there, we have to teach them to almost connect the dots. Remember when we were little and we would connect the dots? Well, it's very similar to that. You're going to have to make sure that she knows how to connect the dots when she's looking through there. Okay? All right. And I'm going to keep going unless you stop me with questions. Okay? So what should you do if your camera does not have the masks on the LED screen? So if you have a 3200 or a 3400, or even if you have if you have any of these actually, and you don't have the sticker that is on the screen, then you need to call camera support, because either someone took the sticker off, or sometimes if you use those alcohol wipes enough, it will wipe the black mask off the back of the camera. So guys, if you don't have a mask on your screen, then call camera support. Okay? All right. Let's keep going. Now, let's talk a little bit about, let's use an example to show what I'm talking about. So the left image here, the left image is the sweet face pose from our previous pose guide. So this is from our old pose guide, or our pose guide prior to June. Okay, prior to June. We've all looked at this. We've all seen this particular picture a million times, right? Now the image on the right, this is from our current pose guide. Same pose. They're both sweet face, but look at the difference. Look at the difference. In the old one, I mean, we were shooting to sell, right? And that's how a lot of us were taught. We were taught shoot to sell. But guess what? We can't do that anymore, because our photos won't fit on a lot of our products. So we've got to back that out. So look how far we're asking you guys to back out on sweet face. Quite frankly, it's almost lullaby. I mean, it is lullaby, just about, except you're not taking this hand and putting it over here by the face, right? That's almost the only difference. So sweet face, it now is very close to lullaby without the hand. Okay, so I wanted to make sure that you saw that. You know, and this is a significant change. I mean, it really is from what we have taught in the past, but it's necessary for efficient production at the home office. And because what's happening is, you know, a lot of our moms are not happy with their products because the photos are too tight. So we've just got to be super, super careful. Okay. All right, let's keep going. All right. So this is just a, you know, a close-up of why the change is so important, because it really creates a lot of challenges to certain products. And one of those products is our Canvas Gallery Wrap Prints. But in some of the other products that we're having trouble with, you guys, are the holiday ornaments, some of our most popular birth announcements, some of our jewelry, and even some of our slideshow photo book pages. So in this example, it's comparing how the images would look on the 12 by 12 Canvas Gallery Wrap print. So you can see again that the image on the left, this is from our old pose guide. As you can see, this baby's head and face would have been cut off if we tried to put that same exact photo on a canvas. So it just becomes unusable. I'll get it out. And then what happens is customer care will try to contact mom, to find out if she has a different pose that she wants to use. But guess what happens? If we have to call mom to ask her to change her photo, a lot of times these moms are reducing their orders or they are canceling them altogether, which, bottom line, our moms are not happy. And I know you're not happy because you're not making your commission after doing all of that hard work. And let's face it, your new hires are not going to be very happy either. So we have to make sure that we're getting this through to them. So it really just gives mom a second chance to decline her purchase. We have statistics that show that if we have to phone mom, there is a very high chance that she's going to reduce or cancel her order. So guys, we don't want to have to call mom for any reason. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Okay, so let me tell you why it matters. Okay? We have a lot of our photographers who say, well, the lab can fix anything, right? Wrong. Well, why don't they just recrop it? Well, you can't recrop a part of a photo that doesn't exist, okay? And then what's the big deal? Can't they just Photoshop it? Well, okay, so let me kind of put all of this in perspective for you, okay? So what we do at the home office is very high speed. It's high speed, it's high volume. You guys, they are processing thousands and thousands of photos per day. So in order to process these thousands of images, we have to adhere to some pretty basic image cropping standards, just to be able to produce, the products. And so we just have to make sure, so the answer is no, we can't fix everything. We can't just recrop it. We can't use Photoshop because we don't have time. We don't have time, or the photographer has not even given us enough image to recrop it. Okay, because if it's too tight, there is nothing to recrop. All right? Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk a little bit about some adjustment methods. Okay? So, let's talk about the bedside cropping strategies that we should be going over with each new hire to make sure that she understands how to crop properly or frame properly, okay? So of course, the first one is zooming out. I mean, I think we all know that, zooming out is going to give us more of a full photo and put that within our cropping mask. So we want to make sure that she understands how to use the zoom in and zoom out on the lens. And I know that sounds so elementary, especially for you guys. But we have a lot of people that know nothing about cameras when they come to us. I was one of them. So guess what I was doing? Instead of zooming in and out, I would lean forward and I would lean back. And my FT kept, my trainer kept saying, Caprice, use the zoom. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what that's for. Okay. Then, of course, again, teaching her to move back from her subjects. If she's trying zooming in and out and that's not working, then obviously either take a couple of steps back, but again, make sure that those subjects are within our mask. Make sure that we're taking the baby's image at eye level and making the best use of our backdrop. You see, guys, our backgrounds are done in such a way that if we don't fully utilize them, then our photos are not going to have that clean background. You see, we have an A-frame because if we're shooting the photo like the pose guide instructions teaches us to, which is eye level, then the backdrop is going to do its job. If we're not shooting at the right angle or level, the backdrop can't do its job, okay? And then, of course, we want to make sure that the poses are set up correctly. You know, if needed, let's remind our new hires to, you know, use pillows, ask a family member to hold up the white sheet, you know, etc. Did someone unmute themselves to ask a question or to add something? Oh, okay, I thought I heard someone. All right. Okay, great. So let's keep going. Now, the portrait orientation poses, especially those with multiple subjects, we are finding are causing our new hires especially challenges. Because as you can see right here, there is less usable space from left to right, you know, when we have these multiple subjects in the pose. And so we want to take really special care to make sure, again, you guys, that within this mask is the actual photo, right? So we don't want dad's ear to be over here. We don't want mom's ear or part of her face to be over here. We need that entire photo to be within this mask. Very, very important, okay? Alrighty, let's keep going. And it will if I'll do my computer right. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Oh, yes. I love computers. I love everything about them. Okay, OS2 processes and tools. So let's talk a little bit about the computer itself, okay? So I don't know if I realized this when I was a photographer. And, you know, you guys probably know all this because you're so smart. But when you import session images into the OS2, the image is centered in a template in the software. Okay, so we have software in the computer, and there's a template in there. And when you download the photos from your camera to that template in the computer, some of the image is automatically removed. So let me give you an example. This is an actual photo from the back of a camera. This is what the photo looks like just from downloading it to the computer. Nothing has been done to this photo. No one has touched it. No one has cropped it. No one has done anything. This is the auto cropping that is happening just from the photo leaving the camera, moving to the computer. Okay? And so you can see why it is so important that we are having that extra space out here, because look how much it cut off. It cut off all of this. You can't even see Dad's hand. All of this is gone from just moving it from the camera to the computer. A lot of this is gone. Now realize this is a landscape photo, okay? This is landscape. So let's look at what it does when we look at a portrait, okay? So again, this is from the back of the camera, and this is what it looks like when it just goes from the camera to the computer. Look how much is cut off. all of this is cut off. You can't see the baby's diaper at all, or the baby's elbow. So look how much is cut off the sides and the top and the bottom of those photos, just moving from camera to computer. I mean, it's quite astonishing. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the cart adjustments. Okay, so you can see that, here we go. You can see that when placing the images in the products, you might have to use the adjustment tools to scale or center the image. So when you get on the package edit screen, so mom has purchased the canvases, and now you're at the package edit screen preparing these photos for the canvas, right? So let me just show you what this looks like, okay? So you can see here that the photo that, that we're using, you can see this is how it looks without us doing anything, without us making any adjustments on the package edit screen. So obviously we're going to need to use these tools, and we have to make sure, I know you guys are doing it, but we have to make sure that our new hires, that we're teaching them that they need to adjust a lot of these pictures once they get in the package edit screen, because they're not going to be in the right spot. If we leave this like this, this is not good. We don't have baby's chin. It's just not centered properly. So you can see right here, what they did was they hit the minus to give us more of the picture, right? More of the photo. And then they used the arrows to move the baby and mom so that it is centered properly for that canvas. And you can see now, this whole wrap zone, none of that is going to show on this product. So what we are seeing in this box, that is it. The rest of it's going to be over here on the side of the wrap. So guys, we just have to make really sure that we're getting this through to our new hires. So product placement examples, okay? So again, this is just some more examples of what the photo looks like in the slideshow. This is from our old pose guide. This is from our new pose guide. But again, you can see that a lot of times we're going to have to make adjustments, okay? And now look at the birth announcement. These are two of our most popular birth announcement styles. And what the lab is telling us is that a lot of times they're getting these and the images are cropped too tightly, and they're just not working well in these most popular birth announcements. So, we just have to make sure that we're giving ample room on these products, okay? And then with phone cases, the same thing. You can see here that, now a couple of things I want to say about the phone cases, that a lot of our photos can be used on these phone cases if we're taking the photo properly from the very beginning. With our old pose guide, probably half of our photos were not working on the phone cases because they were too tight. But if we take this new pose guide correctly, almost every photo will now work on the phone case. So we're not limiting ourselves for this product. Slideshow photo pages, same thing. We're just hearing from the lab that a lot of these are just being cropped too tightly, and that we need to, to make sure that we're following pose guide. Okay, so let me just give you a quick demonstration. I've already got it set up, so let me just click on over here. Oh, well, I did. Must have been out of there too long. Okay. So let's look at the canvas wraps. Okay. So this is, these are photos that, we have permission to use. And so let's say that I put pose 1 in this first 12 by 12. If I left it alone, which, and a lot of our new hires are doing this, they're leaving it alone. Well, this chin is not going to be in the photo. Okay? So we've got to make sure, again, that we're teaching them to move that baby up, right? I mean, I can move baby up. Baby still needs to be the main character of my TV show, right? It needs to be the main character. So I want to make sure that that baby is positioned properly in that photo. Now, I like this look particularly, but if we all have our own way that we crop, but make sure, again, to teach the new hire to crop as close to the pose guide photo as possible. Okay. Now let's say I went over to number 7. Hey guys, this is a photo that was put in here when we were following our old pose guide. So you can see that when I hit the minus button, there is no photo to zoom out on. This is all I have. Okay? So the only thing that I can do to try to make this work is to move people around. And I can't move it around enough to make it work. So this is a photo that wouldn't work if it was too tight, right? And then if we go to number 8, you can see that, okay, now this might work, even though it's a little too tight, but I'm going to have to move it around, right? And, what I teach my folks is we either have some ear or no ear. Some eyebrow or no eyebrow, right? Now, in this case, we might have to do without all of Dad's hand. Because if I try to pull all of Dad's hand in there, look what's going to happen to Dad's face. Now, that might be okay. I like a little bit more face, so I might have to get rid of a little bit of Dad's hand. But again, if I'm if I'm taking this photo too tight, or if I have cropped it too tight to put it in my slideshow, I'm not giving myself any room to maneuver. Okay, any room to maneuver. All right. Okay, so just another couple of things I wanted to show you real quick. One of the birth announcements that they said that they were having a lot of trouble with was the classic style. I know we sell this one a lot. Every time I'm in a room, I sell a ton of these. Again, guys, we got to make sure that we are teaching our photographers to reposition these photos if these are the ones they choose. And again, this one right here is not going to work because I don't have enough photo to zoom back out on. Okay, so I think I've made my point. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Aren't you glad? Okay, so let me go back here and let me just say, a couple of things before I open it up for any questions. A couple of things I want to cover with you when you're doing your new hire training, okay? First of all, as I've been saying, we have to teach this to all of our new hires. We're just having way too many cancellations of orders. I need you to set the expectation with these new hires that they're going to check every product that is in the package edit, that's on the package edit screen, to make sure that it's been properly moved or edited, either with the plus or minus button or with the arrows. They should be checking every single product to make sure that that photo is correct. And then the third bullet point here, you can see, I'm just giving you an idea of how you can help the new hire maybe with some words. You know, we all have those times where no matter what we do, we have a photo that's not going to work for a particular product. So teach her or him how to tell mom this isn't going to work without saying, Mom, this isn't going to work. So, Mom, due to the ratio of this product, can I suggest another pose? It's going to fit, more nicely in the product that you've chosen, or something like that. So try to help her to come up with a phrase that she's going to feel good about, if and when she's going to have to tell Mom that a pose doesn't work, because we all know we're going to have one of those. Okay. And then another thing I would ask is that make sure that the new hire knows where that daily communication screen is on the cart. We're now communicating with you guys through the OS2. Right now it's telling about all the incentives that are out there for you. It's telling about the twins workshops and all of that. Okay. So just make sure that they know where that's located. Okay. All right. So guys, we are just down to recapping. I've already gone through that. So basically, the main thing that we need to do, what I need you to have taken away from this very short webinar today is, number one, that they understand the pink and black lines on the pose guide. Okay, they have to understand that. Have to understand those lines. Number two, make sure that on the package edit screen that they are checking every product. I don't know if it's necessary so much for them to check the portrait sheets, but we definitely need them to check the products. We need them to check the photo book. We need them to check the coasters. We need them to check the birth announcements and make sure all of those photos are in the right spot. Okay. And then, I would just say the third thing is, the reason we want to do all this is because we don't want you guys losing out on commission. The bottom line is we want you to be successful. We want you to make as much money as humanly possible. And so, if we know at the home office that this is hurting our photographers, we wanted to make sure that you guys had this information. Okay. So does anybody have any questions for me? All of you are unmuted. So if you have a question, you might have to unmute yourself on your computers. But okay, Jessica Wall, I see you there. Let's see, who else made it? Okay, so it looks like the only folks that we don't have, Sarah, are Stephanie Racy and Michelle Stomer. Okay, so let's see, we've got, yeah, Sarah, I agree. Nothing worse than thinking, woohoo, I just sold a Celebrate. That's right. And because of cropping issues, we had to call her, and now all of a sudden she's down to a Cherish, right? Okay, guys, so any questions for me? So I tell you what, let me call on a few of you. So Courtney, if you would unmute yourself here for a second. Courtney, what's the one thing that you're going to take away from today that you're going to make sure that you teach your new hire?
I would really just make sure they have everything in the screen view, because I'm still trying to make that work as well.
Okay, good. And thank you for being honest. I know it's a big change, right, from what we have been doing in the past. I mean, if you look at the old pose guide and the new one, pretty drastic on some of our photos. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm having to to catch myself as well on some of these poses. Okay, thanks. Jessica Persilver, if you could unmute yourself, and I'll ask you the same thing. What's the one thing that you're gonna make sure that you go over with your new hire?
I think sorry, I barely have a voice. Instead of teaching them to shoot to sell like I was taught, like we've been teaching, just teaching them that it's okay to be a little further out so where you have more room to go in, because if you're too close in, you have nowhere to go. So you're kind of just dead in the water there.
Exactly. there is no photo if you didn't take it, right? So,
right.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jessica. What about the other Jessica? Jessica Wall, can you unmute yourself real quick? Oh, I see that you've typed with me. Watching the cropping because I see a lot of photos where her and I both are cropping too close. Oh, your mic doesn't work well. That's okay. Okay, yeah. So sounds like, when do you think we will get the edited images sent through digital download? Okay, so Sarah just asked, when do we think we'll start getting the edited images sent through digital download? I do not have an answer for that. In fact, I have not heard anything about that in quite a while. And so you know what? I'm going to send an email, see if I can find out some information. If I can find out an update on that, what I'll do is I'll send a group email out to all field trainers in the region. So let me just edited on digital download update. Okay, let me see if I can find out on that something. Okay. All right. So let's see. Gina, are you able to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
You must have you must still have your computer speakers on, because I'm getting some echo.
Can you hear me now?
I can. So Gina, what's the one thing that stood out to you from today?
Mainly just like everybody else said, just like making sure you have enough room.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you mentioned the Zoom thing, because that's one of the things I just expect people to know. So definitely gonna pay attention to that. Make sure they know how to use the Zoom and not just assume they know, because I just think everybody knows.
Let me tell you, it was the funniest thing, because she'd go, Caprice, the Zoom, and I'd be like, oh yeah, because I had never held this type of digital camera in my hands like ever in my life. Okay, so yeah, so we have to remember, you're right, that some of these folks know absolutely nothing. So
yeah, a lot of stuff from scratch.
Yeah, so just those simple things sometimes we have to be reminded of. Okay, thanks, Gina. Thanks for being on. Let's see.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, like, is this are all the photographers going to be doing this webinar as well? Like,
well,
or is it just field training?
Yeah, good question. Right now, we're just starting with the FTs, because we want to make sure that any new hires that we have right now that, we're just paying really close attention to this with any new hires. And then I think what we're going to do, I think the plan is to go back and then start doing these for all photographers.
Okay, yeah, I know it's like a refresher. We've gone over this before, but the reason I ask is because my nephew recently had a baby, and they ordered a package with a phone case, and he was showing me his phone case, and it was, it was the baby in his hands, and it was so tight that you couldn't even see his hands. It was just like really bad, and that was a very experienced photographer that took those photos. So, I was just. Just maybe everybody needs a refresher.
Yeah, no, and you know what? You know what we have found is that it's our most experienced photographers that are having the most trouble, because they were taught shoot to sell for so many years that it's a huge habit change for them. A huge.
Well, she's been here longer than anybody else.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. Okay, great. You know what? We were planning on doing that, but I'm just going to make sure that my boss knows that everybody thinks that's a great idea. So to do the workshop with everybody. Okay, great.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thanks for being on today. Sarah,
Thank you.
anything you would like to add before we close the workshop today? Just thank you. Okay. You want to say anything? Okay.
Thank you, ladies, for being on the call. And again, just to reiterate, we want to make sure that we share this information not only with our new hires, but also when you do your mentoring calls, take that time to go ahead and share that with those new hires that are already working and are in place.
Very good. Hey, and guys, if you work with someone at a hospital that, it is more tenured, say, hey, you know what? I was on a webinar yesterday and I just got reminded of a couple of things. You want me to share it with you or something like that? And, because if we can help our sister photographers, that would be a great thing. Hey guys, thank you so much for being on the call today. You know I'm always available to you. If you have additional questions, just shoot me an email or give me a call. Thanks ETX for being so great. I've been watching your numbers and they're looking pretty good. So keep up the great work. Thanks, Sarah. I'll be talking to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.